Hey folks, I'm glad you're here. My name is Chris, and this is the Sons of Sever YouTube channel where there's no such thing as bad weather, only bad gear. Today, my brother Eric and I are going to be doing a review of the Lone Peak 9 from Altra. This is the newest in the Lone Peak line from Altra, so there is going to be a lot of trail running B-roll footage in today's review. We just got back from the Bearfoot Expo in Denver, put on by Anya's Reviews. It was a super fun event, and we did do an interview with an Altra rep at the Altra booth. We got to pick his brain about the brand. If you're interested in checking out that interview or any of the other interviews, we will leave a link to the playlist in the description. As we always do, Eric and I are going to bounce back and forth talking about our likes and our dislikes of this trail shoe. If you're interested in jumping around to different parts of the video, there are timestamps down in the description. But for now, I'm going to pass things over to Eric to get us into his first like for the Altra Lone Peak 9.
Okay, so when it comes to my likes of the Lone Peak 9, let's talk about the shape first. I know Chris is going to talk about how much he likes it as well, but I want to talk about how it compares to the past. So the last Lone Peak that he and I had was the Lone Peak 7, and I'm not sure how many versions of the shoe were a little bit narrower, but I know that the 7 was one of them, and I think that they widened it back out with the Lone Peak 8. And this one maintains that shape, so it's truer to their original shoe that they came out with, the original Lone Peak, and I really like that about it. So I ran a full trail marathon with the Lone Peak 6, and I got a blister on the outside of my big toe on my right foot, this massive blister. It was disgusting. And then I ran a half trail marathon with the 7, and same thing, though because the distance was shorter, it didn't become a full-blown blister, but it was a hot spot, and I knew that if I had ran the whole thing, that it would have turned into the same exact blister that I had. Now, Chris and I ran basically a half marathon with the Lone Peak 9 while we were in Colorado right before the Barefoot Shoe Expo started, and I did not get the same hot spot with this one. So I think that the shape has improved. They've widened it back out so that it's more true to the original, and I really like that about it.
The first like that I'm going to bring up for the Lone Peak 9 is something that I bring up with pretty much every Altra that we review here on the channel. It's going to be how anatomically shaped they are. And the reason why I bring it up is because they do a really good job at keeping their shape consistent from shoe to shoe to shoe. So if you're grabbing a pair of Escalantes or some Solstice, or if you're grabbing a pair of Lone Peaks, odds are really good they're going to be the same nice anatomical shape. Now maybe that'll be different from foot to foot, but I tend to have a foot that is more of a toe box snob. So if you need a wider toe box anatomically shaped shoe, in my opinion, Altra does a really good job with their shape.
Another great update that they made from the 7 to the 8 and then it carried on to the 9 was the ripstop mesh upper. So I know that it's a more durable material than what they were using with the 7, and I also like the improvements to the toe. So I'm going to pull the 7 back out, and you can see that there is a bit of a difference in the way that overlay goes on the toe, and I much prefer the way that it is on the Lone Peak 9. I think it's also a harder material. Like when you feel the two side by side, there's a little bit more to the protection they've got on the toe on the Lone Peak 9. So I can attest to how well this does because I stubbed my toe a billion times while Chris and I were doing that long run. I did it just the other day when I was out on about a 4 to 5 mile trail run with these things, and my toe has never gotten hurt or anything. This is very protective, and I know with this upper too, it has no sewing on it, which is meant to improve the durability. I know the Altra has kind of tanked in their durability a little bit after that big corporate takeover happened. There was an expected loss in the production value, but I think that it's on the uptick. This shoe is a testament to that so far. I think the Escalante 4s that Chris and I got is a testament to that as well. I put probably about 300 miles on my Escalante 4, and it still looks great. It still has plenty of traction on the bottom, plenty of foam in the midsole, and I don't think this is going to be any different. With the miles that we've put on it so far and the way that we've been beating them up, they've been taking that beating very well. So I do like the improvements that they've made on the toe and to the upper. I think they're doing a good job.
Taking a break here to give you my next like for the Lone Peak 9. You can't tell, my camera will flatten it out, but I'm about halfway up a very steep hill here. And this is important for my next like because my next like is how the Max Trax outsole performs on these things. I've had no issues with the Lone Peak series and the grip pattern. I'm pretty sure they almost always use Max Tracks. This time with the Lone Peak 9, we had the option to have them send out the Lone Peak 9 Plus, which has a Vibram Mega Grip outsole. We ended up not doing that because the Max Tracks has never failed on us. And as I've been going up this long hill, haven't had any issues with starting to slide back down. So I'm really happy with how the Max Tracks performs overall. So if you're looking at this shoe from a grip standpoint, just know it's gonna hold up really, really well in pretty adverse conditions.
I like the update that they made to the outsole as well with this one. So it now has different densities in these lugs, much like the Vivobarefoot Tracker AT that we reviewed had different densities. Now with that one, I could feel the harder lugs under my foot because the Vivos are so thin. This has 25 millimeters of stack height, so you're not gonna feel the difference there. But I think it's been placed very well. I land really far forward on my midfoot when I'm running, and so to have a harder rubber right there where I hit means that this thing is gonna last even longer for me. So I think that's a great update that came out with this one.
I am super high up here now. According to my Garmin, I am at 6,200 feet of elevation, and it was a pretty rocky road getting up here. And what I'll say about that is the Lone Peak 9 feels very protective, and I've felt this with the other Lone Peaks as well. Whatever they build the upper out of, however they construct it, plus the stack height that you have on the lower, which will come back up in my dislikes, this shoe feels very, very protective overall, which is gonna be great if you're looking at running trail races. If you're gonna do a trail half full or an ultra, you're not gonna have to worry about your feet getting all jacked up in these. I think that's probably what Ultra is going for, is kind of the perfect trail shoe for the person who wants to go from their first trail run just training to an ultra marathon of some kind on the trails. You're not gonna have to worry about your feet getting beat up. The Lone Peak 9 is gonna keep your feet protected.
Another thing that I appreciate with what Ultra is doing now, I think they are trying really hard to course correct back to what we all want them to be, but they're slowing down the production cycle just a little bit. So this came out in December 24. There's no new Lone Peak coming out in 2025 as far as their calendar is concerned. And I think that that's a great thing because the different versions of the Lone Peak were really hard to tell between the 6, the 7, the 8, like there wasn't much going on there. And I think that when the 10 does come out, because they've had a longer time to work on that thing, that it probably will have some really meaningful and some really good updates. Now, I like this one the way that it is, and so I'm excited that there isn't a new one on the horizon, because then I can enjoy this one for even longer. But I think that that slowdown in the production cycle of the shoe is a really good thing. First off, it makes it easier for us as reviewers to keep on top of things, because it's really hard when a different version of a shoe comes out every single year. But again, I think that they can make some really meaningful updates with the next version because they've given themselves a little bit more time. So I think that Ultra is moving in a really good direction that way.
There you have it, folks. We have made it to the top of this mountain. Beautiful view of the valley and the lake in the distance. It's time for us to get into our dislikes now, but first I want to mention that this video is sponsored by Creepers Toe Socks. Creepers is our favorite toe sock that we've tried. We've tried 20 plus brands at this point, and they have the best mix of durability and comfort that we found of all of the pairs that we've tried so far. Also, the CEO, Sean, is a total fiber nerd, so you know he knows what he's doing. He's experimenting all the time with different lengths and different mixes of yarn. The dude has it down to a literal science. I wore the moss or military green pair for this specific trail run, and they performed fantastic. The merino wool blend that Sean uses in his socks wicks away moisture and keeps your feet dry. It also keeps them cool in the hot temperatures and warm in the cooler temperatures. So it's kind of a sock that does it all. They're also very abrasion resistant, so I don't find that I get blisters when I'm wearing Creepers toe socks. If you're interested in checking them out, make sure to use the link down in the description. It'll auto apply a 10% off discount code to your order at checkout. Again, thanks to Creepers for sponsoring this review. As I'm heading down the trail now, I wanted to mention that Ultra is an affiliate partner of the channel. So if you're interested in checking out Ultra, we do like Ultra's offerings in general. We've had a lot of fun with their Lone Peak series. We've also had a lot of fun with their Escalante series. So if you're interested in checking out more from Ultra, make sure to use the link that's down in the description.
Okay, when it comes to my dislikes, this one's gonna be really short from me. I don't really have anything to say. I haven't found anything in this shoe that I've liked less than the Lone Peak 7. I think that the updates that they've made since then are really worth it. So if you're somebody who's coming from like a 5, a 6, or a 7, I think the 9 is one that you're gonna like. My biggest gripe with the 7 was the width of the toe box and the blister that I got, and this one has widened back out, and so I think it's a great thing, and the rest of the shoe is just nailing it.
It is fitting that on my way out of this trail run, I'm running into some water, because the first thing that I want to bring up is that the water resistance isn't super great. So there's some easy dry patches in here that I'm going to be able to go over without getting my feet wet, but the trail was a little bit wet in the high grass as I was coming down, and honestly, this thing is not really keeping water out all that great. Probably not something that they were thinking was going to be super important for this shoe, but it's something I personally like to see in a trail shoe just because it makes it a little bit more versatile in my opinion.
As far as the sizing for Altra goes, we find it to be true to size. So I'm usually a size 9. That's what I got for this one, and it fits perfectly. Now, we know that there is a 9 Plus that has a Vibram outsole. This is not that one, but we think that the Max Track outsole that they have does a really, really good job. If you want to up it to a Vibram, then I'm sure that you would be happy with it, but I don't think you'll be disappointed with the Max Track that they have.
As I'm getting closer to the parking lot here, I want to bring up my last dislike, and that's going to be that stack height. I think it's 26 millimeters overall, and it's a lot. While it's great for protection, what we found it was hard on was our ankles. The stability component is what's lost when the stack height goes up. So while underfoot you feel more protected, you may find that your ankles are slipping out to the left and right a little bit. Eric and I did a 12-mile trail run in these shoes before we went to the Barefoot Expo, and it was super fun, but we just kept rolling our ankles. So that's definitely a disadvantage when it comes to the stack height of the Ultras.
Okay, talking about my final opinion of this shoe, would I recommend it for other people? And absolutely. I think the Ultra is doing a really good job with kind of course correcting the ship, and the Lone Peak 9 is a testament to that. So I really love the updates that they've made with the outsole. Now we've got the different density rubber there that's been placed very well, at least for the way that I run. I love the hardened toe and the way that they placed that material on the toe as well. It's been very protective for me and has worked out really well. I like that they widened the Lone Peak back out so that it's truer to the original Ultra shoes. I think that that was really needed, and everybody in the market wanted that, so they definitely delivered there, and that's really manifested itself for me in the longer runs that I've taken, where I haven't gotten the same blister that I got in the 6 and the 7. So if you're looking for a trail running shoe that is 0 drop and has a wide toe box, I think this is the one to get. This thing has been taking a beating. It's kept my feet comfortable in all sorts of different runs, and because of all that, I would definitely recommend the Lone Peak 9.
Getting into my final opinion on the Lone Peak 9, would I recommend it to somebody who is looking for a barefoot featured trail running or just trail shoe? Absolutely. This thing performed so well for me, not only in the 12-mile run that you've seen footage of during this video that Eric and I did, but also during the other one where I brought you along with me. Up and down mountains, this thing is fantastic out on the trails. Because of all the reasons that I brought up, it does have a very nice anatomical shape, which makes it so your toes can splay out and your feet don't feel squished. It is 0 drop, so it's not going to cause you any back pain because of a drop. That's something Eric and I experience when we have drops in shoes. The stack height is very, very protective, though a bit much in certain situations, in my opinion. It is very protective for the bottom of your foot. This grip pattern makes it so that you are not going to lose your footing as you are running along the edges of trails and mountains and cliffs and things like that. So in my opinion, the Lone Peak 9 holds up really, really well for what it's built for. So if you're interested in checking it out, I'd highly recommend it. Make sure to use the link down in the description to go and do that. Folks, if you like this video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. All those things really help the channel out. If you're interested in any of the products that we talked about in this video, there will be links to them down in the description. If we have discount codes for any of those companies, they will be featured with the links. If you want to get more content from us, there are 3 different places you can get it. The first one is Patreon, where for $1 a month, you can get exclusive behind-the-scenes content we don't post anywhere else. If you want to be most up to date with what we are working on, make sure to follow us on Instagram, where we are constantly posting unboxing videos. Go follow us on Strava if you're interested in seeing mini reviews in real time of the products we're using and what we're using them for. Strava allows you to track and post about your different activities. We track and post about our runs, trail runs, hikes, paddleboarding, and weightlifting, and we do little mini reviews on the products we're using during those activities. Go follow us there, and we will follow you back. We appreciate your view, and as always, we will catch you in the mountains.